Guten Morgen, zusammen. I'm bilingual now. Anyway, I hope everybody's doing well this Tuesday. So today comes from some things that happened yesterday. And so the topic today is being comfortable with other people's uncomfortability, being comfortable with someone else's or other people's ignorance, lack of knowledge, whatever it is. Be comfortable with their choices no matter what it is, which is difficult to do because we want everybody to be how we want them to be from our perspective. We want other people to conform to our ideals of life, way of living. And if you want to improve your soul condition, then you're going to have to change that. You're going to have to be comfortable with someone not living the way you feel life should be lived. You have to be comfortable with the idea that how you live your life is okay for you, and how other people live their life is okay for them. And if we can manage to do this, then what happens is we improve our experiences that we have for ourselves. Hey, stay on your side. I'm not messing with you. I am not messing with you. Yeah, so being comfortable with other people, it's easy. It's easier once you understand it and you reap the benefits of doing that, of living life that way, of allowing people just to be who they want to be and not have any feelings towards it, meaning any judgment. Because once you have judgment, once you have any kind of condemnation and you criticize someone for doing something that they're doing within their lives, you start to degrade your own soul. And this is what's happening on the planet right now. You see it all over the place. You know what? I'm not messing with you either. Sorry, Bolt. So, we see it on the planet all the time. People on the news, they shouldn't be doing that, and they should do this, and they should do that. I mean, you see it all over politics. People trying to make laws to control other people. But there really isn't a lot of assistance because there's not a lot of understanding as to why these things are happening in the first place. And because of this, I could have got in there. I'm messing with you. I'm not messing with you. I might have to go all the way around. I think there's a 7 o'clock thing going on. So let me see if there's a... Usually there's another route, but they prevent you from making a right turn. It used to be 7 o'clock. Oh, now they changed it to 6 a.m. That's all right. So, just go around, Bradley. Go around. So, yeah. Being comfortable. It's easier to do, like I said, once you've been doing it for a while, once you've trained yourself to do it. And once you train yourself to do it, what happens is you start to become comfortable. You start to experience the peace and the ease from minding your own business and not really trying to dictate someone else's life. Because look, the reason why people are so tired these days is because they're trying to control everybody around them. And it takes so much energy to try to control someone else when we don't have the power to control someone else. It's a futile effort, but yet we try to do it, or I should say most people try to do it every day of their lives, whether it's controlling their friends, controlling their children, controlling family members, controlling people at work. It's like everyone is trying to get someone to see through their perspective, live life through their perspective, and they don't have any regard to the other person. And if the other person or other people are doing something that are unloving, they don't have any interest to find out why these things are happening. Like, why are they doing that? What's going on with you? Why would you do that? Find out. And the thing is, like, we were having some issues with clients, or there was some this is a new stop sign. This was not here before. Maybe it was. Maybe I kept running it. I don't know, but I don't remember. I don't remember seeing that stop sign. There were some issues with some of the clinicians having an understanding as to why a client was actually responding the way that they were responding, you know. And I had to bring it up and say, hey, look, this is what's going on with the client. And the reason why I brought it up is because once you have understanding and you're in a position to help, now you know exactly which tools you need to pull out in order to help the person. Because if you have a leaky pipe, you're not going to bring a screwdriver. You're going to bring a pipe wrench. You're going to bring the tools that you need in order to solve the problem. And that's what it's all about. This is why understanding is so important. Because once you understand the situation, you know what to do. Or you know what questions to ask in order to... You'll know what questions to ask in order to correct whatever the issue is. But if you don't understand the issue, you won't know what questions to ask. You won't know what tools to bring, or even if you should bring any tools. Some people don't even know how to correct or feel that there's something to correct, and that's actually what was happening in the moment. A clinician didn't know what to do because the situation happened, and so they were actually going off of what the client was presenting, but they didn't understand why the client was presenting the way that they were presenting. And the thing is, what's so important is if especially in this situation where you have therapists who are employed to help people, but you don't know what to do in order to help the person. So if something happens and a client is responding in a certain way, and your goal is to help the person, then it's really your duty to understand why the client is presenting in a certain way. But this is no different than anybody else. It doesn't matter whether you're a client or not. Just in life in general, if you understand someone and where they're coming from and why they're interpreting things the way that they're interpreting, you have the power to control the situation, meaning you have the power to fix it. And what I mean by fix it is you have the power to bring clarity forth so that the person can see the truth of what was really going on, because everyone has all these different perceptions, and these perceptions disallow someone from seeing the truth because their perceptions are based on falsehood. Now, this is pretty general across the board. Most people hold falsehoods. They don't hold truth. So they base their perceptions on the falsehoods that they understand to be true. And sometimes it's like looking at a child. A child doesn't understand the world as an adult understands the world. So they're only going to be able to interpret it based on the little knowledge that they have. But the sad thing about it is most adults still have, a small aspect of understanding. They don't know the truth of things. They only have, adults have grown up to absorb more errors. Adults have grown up to absorb more lies, to know more lies, to be misled in so many different ways, and they hold that as truth. They hold it as fact, and then they live life from that place. And so, of course, their perceptions are going to be off because it's not based in truth. Their foundation is flawed. It's not stable. It's built on sand. And this is why a lot of people become disappointed, because everything that they're understanding isn't true. And then when the wave of truth comes and washes upon the beach, their sandcastle is gone. That which they thought was pristine and amazing is washed away. But if you build it on a solid foundation, and the house is built out of a solid foundation, then you have everything positive and loving and truthful to stand on, and you're protected from the elements because what you have built is solid and protects you, because that's what love and truth does, is protect you from all things unloving. It just depends on what aspect you hold truth in, because if you hold untruth, in certain areas, then you're going to get burned in those areas because you don't hold the truth. So you can hold truth in one thing and not hold it in another. For instance, you can hold truth in terms of knowing who you are. You can know that you're a soul. You can know that you're important. You can know that you're worthy. You can know all of these different things about you and make decisions, say career decisions. If you can tell yourself and you believe within your being, and you know within your being that you can do any and everything you want to do, and you're able to be successful in that way, that's great. But that doesn't mean that you hold the truth in relationships. So you can be a very successful man or woman and have crappy relationships. You can have breakups and makeups all the time. It's because you don't hold truth in that area. So it just really depends on where you hold your truth. And the thing is, we all hold truths, but we all hold more untruths than truths. which is why we keep getting burned, which is why we keep making mistakes, which is why we keep being used, which is why we keep failing, which is why we keep experiencing pain. If you experience pain, it's based on you holding an untruth. That's all there is to it. But if you're the type of person who thinks you know everything, guess what? You won't believe what I'm saying, you won't understand what I'm saying, and you won't want to hear what I'm saying. Therefore, you will have to continue being disappointed with your life decisions. And that's fine. That's your choice. That is your free will choice. And that I have to be okay with. That I have to understand. That I have to accept. I have to accept everyone in their flawed state. I have to accept myself in my flawed state. But I also, for myself, I also know that I can improve in any and everything. Why? Because I know I don't know everything. I know there is so much to learn, there is so much to explore, there is so much to experience, and as I experience and explore, and I have a sense of humility within my soul, the truth will be revealed to me, and I'll be able to recognize it when it is presented to me. Truth is presented all the time, but I'll be able to recognize it. That is the key, to be able to recognize it when you hear it, and to go further than that, accept it, and live from that truth, rather than the untruths that was previously held. But we have to be okay with that. Everything that I just said, you have to be okay with. You have to be okay with it. You have to be okay with everything. It doesn't mean that you condone it, but you're okay with another person's decisions, another person's perspective. You have to be okay with it. So you have to be okay with everything. And the problem is, people aren't okay with everything. Look at the news. Just turn on social media and there's somebody bitching about something. Oh, that, there was, I guess, there was some child who was burned badly by their parents. And then recently there was, I didn't know it even made national news, but there was a little boy, I think it was 3 years old, got a hold of his parents' gun and shot himself. And he ended up dying. And it was national news, and I was talking to the person, a relative of that person, and they were telling me that the mother was getting a lot of hate messages on social media, and people were just saying all kinds of things, about what a terrible parent, they need to go to jail, or they need to die too, and someone needs to shoot them in the head and see how it feels. Like, that's so ridiculous. But this is what people are saying, and it's because they cannot accept the condition of the parents, the condition that the parents were in at the time, and the condition that they're currently in. They can't accept that. And you have to be able to accept that. You have to be able to accept that, hey, these parents were in a degraded state, and they had a gun that was in arm's reach or in hand's reach with, from the child, and so the child got a hold of it. The thing is, if you are truly loving, number one, you would not have a gun. Number two, if you did have one, you would understand the impact that a gun would have on anybody. And if you have a child and you truly love your child, then what you would do is ensure that your child could never get a hold of that. And this just goes to show the level of degradation that is within the soul. But if you don't understand this, what you want to do is blame, and you want to impose pain upon the parents. And there's another thing. I don't know what it was. I don't know if my cable boxes were setting, but it every time I turn it on, it's on channel 2 or something. I don't know. And what is this? I don't know. Milko's, some kind of talk show. And I just turned it on, and I was on my phone, and so I was kind of listening to it, and it captured my attention. And this little boy, I guess the claims are that the little boy pulled some kind of noodle cup that was hot on his face and burned his face, and all this stuff happened, and it was just a big mess. And then people were, yelling at the parents. And one of them wasn't even the parent. It was like a step parent, because the dad had the child and the mom was angry, blah, 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 whatever. But it was like, okay, people were condemning them left and right, but not looking. I mean, you can see these people on these talk shows and see that something is not right. They are suffering big time, but they're still condemning. And the thing is, those who condemn are equally suffering as those they're condemning. Everybody that you condemn, you are showing that you are on the same level as they. That's all you're doing. So it's not like, oh, I'm condemning them, I'm an authority, or I'm a better person. No, you're showing that you're no better than the person you're condemning. That's what condemning shows. And it's interesting because I see this at work. You know, I had mentioned before there's a change in administration, and there are some staff or employees who don't like the new administration because the old administration was giving them any and everything that they wanted. And you can see them sitting in the meeting, rolling their eyes, doing other things on their computer, not even paying attention. They're on the phone, and this is just the level of disrespect. And the people believe that, oh, I'm better than you. I know more than you, or I don't have to listen to you because you're not an authority of any topic, or I'm not going to recognize your title or your level or your experience or expertise. Like, you do nothing for me. That's exactly what they're saying. But really, what it shows is that you have this a level of disrespect that far exceeds whatever disdain you have for the person that you're being disrespectful to. If that makes any sense. I know it makes sense to some people and it won't make any sense to other people. But you really do show your hand. And that's all you're doing when you condemn and judge another. You just show your hand. Some people think that, hey, if I make you look bad, I look good. But what's really happening is you're looking worse than the person you're trying to condemn, because you have to use so much energy to tell your story. And that's what you're doing. You're telling a story. You're telling a story of your disregard. You're telling your story of your disdain. You're telling your story of your anger. You're telling the story of your frustration. You're telling the story. You're telling the story. You're telling the story. That's all you're doing. But understand that you are telling your story. Every time you condemn someone and put someone down, you're telling your story. How you feel. It's not about what the other person did. It's all about you. Which is why you're trying to create this narrative to get people to understand how you feel. To share your story, your feelings, your dislike, your disdain. Yeah, we're going to go right on in. Yeah. And it's interesting because I see it. It's so clear. And you can see it too. If you really look at what I'm saying and just remember the things that you said to people, or the things you said about people to try to paint a picture or, create a narrative about someone. Every time you try to create a narrative about someone, you are only telling your story. That's what you're really showing. And that's why I said you have no power over anybody else. Only yourself. That's what you have control over, yourself. So when you do this, you are really literally showing your hand. You are letting everybody know what your soul condition is. That's it. And again, you have to be okay with this. Like, I'm okay with it. It gives me so much information. This is why, I've said in the past, people just tell me their stories all the time. All the time they tell me their stories, and they don't even know they're telling me their story. Every time someone comes to me and starts talking about someone else, they're telling me where they are in their soul condition. Now, I don't tell them this. Why would I want someone to stop telling me their story? I benefit when someone tells me their story. I know who to trust. I know who not to trust. I know who's loving. I know who's caring. I know who's compassionate. I know who's understanding. And I know who's uncaring. I know people who don't. It shows me who are not compassionate, who don't hold love, who are confused, who are degraded. This is the valuable information you get. And this helps you to navigate people, the world. It helps you to make decisions. It helps you to understand if you should not Coco. Oh my gosh, why is that word slipping my mind right now? It's totally eluding me. It's what? Come on, Zachary, get it together. It's not co-author. Oh, Jesus, I know you guys are saying it. But I can't hear you because it's after the fact. Oh, for freak's sakes. What is the damn word? It's gonna annoy me. I need to call and order my breakfast anyway, so maybe I should do that. I know it's not co-author. 1 second. Where's the pause button? Okay, I can't think of the word, but I'm going to use co-sponsor because that's the closest one I can come up with. So, you know, now I forgot why I was even trying to use that word. What a mess. What a mess. Anyway, I gotta end this video. I gotta order my breakfast before I get there. All right, everybody, you guys. This is a mess. A mess. Have a great Tuesday, and I'll talk to you guys later. All right, bye now.